10 random magic cards rated day number 190, everybody. Can you believe it? Almost 200. Let's see. Let's see what the first card is today. It's Stonecloaker. I feel like I have fond memories of this card. Planar Chaos is when it was originally printed. You can get it for a fat 17 cents right now. 3 mana, 2 and a white for a 3/2 gargoyle with flash and flying when it comes into play. Return a creature you control to its owner's hand. When it comes into play, also, remove target card in a graveyard from the game. So 2 ETB triggers on your 3 mana, 3 power flyer you can play at instant speed. Yeah, this used to be okay. Used to be all right. Now, if you don't have any other creatures in play, you have to pop it back to your hand. Cool thing about that is you might just want like a creature enter the battlefield trigger, right? And you can recast Stonecloaker over and over. That seems fun. But you also can use it like a white mane lion, right? Like you can save a creature from a removal spell by playing Stonecloaker and then cast it again. Or you can repeat a creature's into the battlefield trigger effectively with Stonecloaker. Just a pretty good all-around card, man. I miss it a little bit. I do. I really almost want to give it an honorary 5, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that first thing today. This is like a 4.2, though. I mean, it really is. This is not. It's not a terrible Magic card. I thought it was going to be one of those where it's like, okay, I look at it 15 years later, and actually it was bad the whole time. But it was. This is fine. This is fine. This is all right. We'll move on to Unyielding Krumar. I believe we've actually done this card before. I don't know how I'm remembering this because it's pretty drafty uncommon, but I'm almost certain that we have done this card before. So I guess we'll move on. It's just a hill giant you can give first strike to, so it's not super exciting. Teamer Battle Rage. I know we've done this one before, which is really sad because this card's good. This card, kind of one of the baselines for what it does. Good card. Swamp is up next. Uh-oh, that gets a 5. Skyreach Manta. We have not seen this before. This is from Fifth Dawn originally. It costs 10 cents to get your hands on. 5 mana for an artifact creature that also happens to be a fish, according to modern day Oracle text. This has Sunburst, and it also has Flying. You don't know what one of those abilities does, and you do know what the other one does. So let me explain. So Flying means that they can't be blocked unless the creature has Flying. But Sunburst Sunburst says this comes into play with a +1/+1 counter on it for each color of mana used to pay its costs. So at the ceiling of this card, what you have is a 5 mana 5/5 flyer. Isn't that exciting? Not really. Not really. The best thing about this, I think, is the kind of well-inked Christopher Miller art here. I think that's nice, but we will. Well, I still have to rate the cards. We'll just move on. I guess I'm stuck rating the cards. So let's give it a 2.4. 2.2. Let's give it a 2.2. We'll move on to Meglonoth from Conflux here. 30 cents to buy this thing. It's only ever really been printed this one time. It's neat. So what is this rare that's only been printed once, dude? Why are you so cheap? 6 mana, 3 and Naya colors. So a red, a green, and a white for a 6/6 beast with vigilance and trample. Whenever it blocks a creature, it deals damage to that creature's controller equal to Meglonoth's power. So, okay. So that's cute considering it has vigilance. That's really neat. So you can swing in, try to get your 6 damage, probably swing through the majority of their creatures because he big. But then you leave him up for defense. He even has trample, by the way. But you leave him up for defense, and then suddenly, if they swing in, they are going to take a lot of damage. Even if this blocks a 1/1, they're going to take 6 damage. That's really intimidating. That's a neat card. It really is. Costs too much mana and all that. But it is a cool line of text, right? And the keyword abilities line up with the actual ability pretty well. You can increase its power to deal a buttload of damage. I think it's fine. If you give it reach or flying, then it can block anything. Let's go with a 4.49. That's too low. This is a 4.64. This is a 4.64 if I've ever seen one. The epitome of a 4.64. Next is Barktooth Warbeard. This guy sucks. He's a 7 mana, 4 a black and 2 red for a 6/5 legendary human warrior from Legends. That's the whole card. I didn't stop reading it or anything. It's not that I'm trying to parse out how to wrap my mind around the text box. because the text box is all flavor text. He is devious and cunning, both in appearance and deed. Beware the Warbeard, for his brute bites as well as he barks. Somebody thought they were cooking with that one, dude. They were stirring the mac and cheese on that line. It's actually not very good. You thought you were making like Thanksgiving macaroni and cheese. You made Kraft. You made Kraft blue box. This is look. It's hard to write. Writing is hard, so I commend you. Is what I'm trying to say. This is a bad card though. 7 mana 6/5 Rakdos guy. That's it. Bad dude. He costs $3.59. You can only ever get him in Legends, even though it doesn't say he's part of the reserve list. And just only ever really printed in Legends. So if you want this guy because you think he looks cool and he's an old Magic card and it's a uncommon from Legends, and it's, I guess he's like $4, you know, but he's bad. I will give him a 2.1. You know, he's got power toughness. That's all he's really got going for him, though. This little dude's from Battle Bond. His name is Thrasher Brute. That's the important part, is the card's name. Thrasher Brute is 4 mana, 3 and a black for a 4/3 Orc Warrior. Whenever Thrasher Brute or another warrior enters the battlefield under your team's control, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay. I'm into it. You know, you guys know I love stuff like this. So does Secure the Waste make little warrior tokens? Just if something makes warrior tokens, I guess this guy ends up lining up well, but that doesn't mean he's like good. You know, he's still 4 mana. You gotta probably untap with him and play to get the full experience. You know, so even if you can, like, you have Arcane Adaptation and you named warrior or whatever, like all your guys are warriors somehow, you know, and somehow you make 1 million warrior tokens. You still have to pay 4 mana for the guy, and he doesn't die in that time frame, right? So setup is a thing. I will give the dude, I'm trying to be realistic. I'm going to give the dude like a 3, though. I'm a sucker for stuff like this. I am. He's not good. Let's get that straight right away, but I like him. It makes me kind of want to play Warriors in Commander. I don't know how you do that, but there's a way. Dragon Wings from Scourge is up next. Also, no reserve list here. They just only printed it the one time in an old set. That probably usually means it's not super quality, but let's find out. This is 2 mana, 1 and a blue for an aura that enchants a creature. It has flying, the enchanted creature. It also cycles for 1 and a blue. Whenever a creature with converted mana cost 6 or more comes into play, you may return Dragon Wings from your yard to play, enchanting that creature. This card's 15 cents, and I actually think it's kind of a banger. Actually, I really do, man. So you can cycle it to draw the card, which makes it instantly better than most auras. Like a lot of auras, at least. I like that about it. And, yeah, just cycle it and then bring it back later. You know, you don't even have to pay mana to enchant that creature. Just put like a fat guy in play, like a 6-drop, like 6 mana green creature or something. And then automatically you're like 8-powered dude has flying. It seems great. It seems actually okay. Like there's specifically a banned enchantments deck that cares about auras in Commander that I think this would be really, really good. Draws cards in the early game. Like even if you try to stick it in the early game and you don't succeed in sticking it, like it'll still come back later, you know? So I think it's actually kind of dope. I'm going to give this a 4 point, well, actually, I'm actually really interested in what you guys think before I give it, because I'm not going to, it's going to be, damn, I shouldn't have already said 4 point whatever, because I want to know what you guys think. But you guys, you know, you're thinking people. You already had a number in mind before I gave my numbers. So I'm going to ask the audience on this one. Like, what do you guys think about this thing? I don't think it's like super impressive, but I'm going to give it like a 4.5. I actually think this has like real world applications outside of, you know, what it's obviously and immediately trying to do. Because, you know, what it's trying to do is fine, I guess. You know, auras that give a creature flying are okay. Cycling's a good ability. You know, this last ability's fine. But what I'm getting at is I think this is probably abusable beyond that. Beyond, like, you know, utilitarian purposes it was designed for. I think there's probably something nasty to do with this. So I'll give it a 4.5. But I am really interested in kind of how y'all feel about it, because there might be something with this. But either way, Thrill of Possibilities up next. We've never seen this card. In this series, we've all seen this card. But Thrill of Possibility is actually newer than I thought it was. This is originally printed in Throne of Eldraine, but we've seen effects like this for a long time. 2 mana, 1 and a red for an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card. Got to draw 2 cards, bud. Seems pretty good. Usually, what was this, Tormenting Voice for 20 years? It feels like it at least. Tormenting Voice was always sorcery speed. This being instant speed makes it instantly much, much better. Pardon the pun, instantly. But yeah, instant speed is just a million times better. Great for reanimator decks or anything that's trying to mess around in its graveyard. And to be honest, just draw 2 for 2 mana is a good rate. Generally, especially at instant speed. So I'm going to give Thrill a 5. Solid 5-er. It's not Faithless Looting, but just a really good role player in a ton of decks, you know. Not just like Standard and Pioneer decks. There's other decks that actually really like Thrill of Possibility and like Commander and stuff. It's just a decent piece that they've riffed on time and time again, you know. But I think Thrill of Possibility is just one of the better, sort of more clean versions of this effect. It's just altogether good. I think one like it in Standard now is Demand Answers, and I want to say it's actually better than this. So they've been doing really well with this effect lately. But we'll move on to Mom. It's Mother. It's Mother. Man, all of these Secret Lair drop ones look like so good, dude. It's awesome. She's awesome. Look at her. Amazing. I didn't even know all these like Secret Lair drop ones existed, but of course they do. Originally printed in Urza's Legacy. Yep, I was correct. This is less than $5 to get your hands on from its original set, and I think that is a steal because most decks running white in Commander, I think you should, if you're playing creatures, you probably want Mother of Runes. It's just really, really good, man. A single white mana for a 1/1 human cleric. You can tap her to have target creature you control gain protection from a color of your choice until end of turn. Broken. Just absolutely stupid. None of your guys can ever be targeted by, removal ever again. They have to get rid of the Mom first, or, target a creature, and then Mom gives that creature protection, and then target the thing they really wanted to target, right? And that happens sometimes. They have to get the Mom tapped down before they can do too much of anything. Also, Mom will let creatures go through unblocked because of the way protection works some of the time, and that's stupid. She lets a creature block just about any creature and then, give that creature protection. She can do the same thing for herself, which is really neat. She can block anything, tap to give herself protection from the color that creature is, and she's fine in combat. But, those are usually not the ways you want to use her. You want to use her very wisely because your opponent's always trying to get around her, right? Just the first sort of effect like this that really popped off in white, and really the mother of effects like this in white. So excellent card, well beyond honorary 5 territory. I think we have to give Mother of Runes. This would have been a fun ask to the audience too. I kind of want to know how you feel, but I think we have to give Mother of Runes like an 8.7. Just incredible Magic card. Still an incredible Magic card. Almost certainly the best card we'll see today. But the reason I always say that when we see a good card is because I'm trying purposefully to tempt fate. I want the next card to be Black Lotus so bad. We still haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. We'll see. It'll happen one of these days. You'll be there. Next is Mogg War Marshal. I like this little guy a good bit. Originally printed in Time Spiral. 2 mana, 1 and a red for a 1/1 Goblin Warrior with Echo. 1 and a red. So you have to pay his casting cost again, the upkeep after he comes in play, or you have to sacrifice him. When Mogg War Marshal comes into play, or is put into a graveyard from play, you get a 1/1 red goblin creature token. So a total of 3 bodies for 2 mana. Excellent deal. Just a wonderful deal. This is probably the least paid Echo cost in the history of Magic. There's got to be a creature I'm forgetting about. Still, maybe Avalanche Riders or something. But I won't say nobody pays this guy's Echo cost. As a matter of fact, if you don't have anything better to do, or if you have a 1-drop in your hand on turn 3, so you drop land, you pay the Echo cost, drop land, play your 1-drop. That happens. But very often you just don't pay the Echo cost for this guy. But it's wise too if you can, because you want him to be targeted by removal or actually have something to do in combat, and then pay you back with a creature. But all that said, 3 total bodies for 2 mana, all of them goblins, which is incredibly important. By the way, these are warriors. They work with the guy we looked at earlier. That's kind of neat. But yeah, either way. Well, are they all warriors? No, just this guy's a warrior. Scratch that. But still, he is a warrior. He counts. Yeah, you can blink this guy to a pretty good effect, obviously. Anything that returns him to your hand can be kind of nice some of the time, but still, blinking this guy has been a thing in a couple of decks. That said, he's just a fantastic, especially for his time period, fantastic Goblins 2-drop that a lot of decks leverage to just get as many dudes on the table as they possibly could. Just in the same way that Resolute Reinforcements is a better card than Gather the Townsfolk. Mogg War Marshal is a better card than, say, Dragon Fodder, right? So I'll give War Marshal a 4.98, man. Like, we're getting really close to... No, I won't. No, I won't. I'll give Mogg War Marshal a 5.01. I really think this is still like just slightly above the line. I think that a lot of Goblin Commander decks, the way they function, they're basically like Aristocrat light decks. So like somewhere in the middle between Aristocrats and Elves decks, Goblins decks are in Commander. And even in some competitive environments. With that being like the two properties that it kind of most has, right? Then a creature like this can be leveraged like very, very well. So yeah, I'll give it a 5.01. I actually think this is like right at the line of a decently like playable Magic card. Very good role player. But next is Visionaria Elfica. This is actually Elvish Visionary, obviously. This is a wonderful Magic card, guys. This is originally... Is it only... Okay, I was going to say, what's the original printing of it? I think Shards of Alara is correct. I think that is the original printing. It is. Okay, just wanted to make sure. This is a whole 10 cents, and I'm sure you can get it for, Magic Origins, 5 cents. For kind of a very iconic Magic card when you get right down to it. 2 mana, 1 and a green for a 1/1 Elf Shaman. When Elvish Visionary comes into play, draw a card. So if you like Dusk Legion Zealot or Spirited Companion or Helpful Hunter or any of the other 2 mana dudes that draw you a card, sometimes they effectively draw you a card, and sometimes they just straight up say draw a card, then you kind of have Elvish Visionary to thank. In a way, you have Wall of Blossoms to thank, actually. That was a 2 mana 0/4 when it comes into play, draw a card. But Elvish Visionary, in some ways, got even more of a pedigree, in some ways, than Wall of Blossoms. I think that might sound weird to some people. Old school players like, what? But no, Elvish Visionary, really, though, this is an iconic card. I'll give that to it. As far as, typal decks or whatever you want to call them now, Elvish Visionary was a real signpost for elves. Finally, like, being truly successful. So Elvish Visionary is still very much a playable kind of filler card in Commander Elves, I'd say. So I'm going to give it its flowers. Elvish Visionary, you are a 6. You are. Especially since you're the final card of the day. I don't have to give you extra points, but still, I think Elvish Visionary deserves more than people would probably tend to give it. Very, very good role player. For a long time, we had 3 mana creatures like Phyrexian Rager and Selkie, right, that are come into play, draw a card. But for a while there, it was rare to get 2 mana creatures that did it. Now we get a bunch. Pawn Prophet, we just got that in Bloomburrow. It's one I didn't name earlier, right? Coiling Oracle is one we got a while back. That again effectively can draw you a card to get you a land. So it's a take on a card like this. But in some ways, Visionary is one of the OGs, and I still love it. And this Alexander Gregory art is still incredible. It's really, really, really well done. But that is all for the day. Did you think I wasn't going to get a video out today? Never doubt me. I love you all very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.